Hello, welcome back to On the Mic with Mike. I am Mike Jarvis, and in this edition of the podcast, my guest is the legendary Lord Christo, Mr. Alfred Christopher. Christo, welcome.
Thank you very much, Michael. Thanks for inviting me.
How have you been doing? You're living in the United States. How are you?
I'm very good, man, and I give thanks to the good Lord because as you realize that of the original Calypsonians, the first group, I'm the only one alive.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk a lot about calypso, Christo. You're going to take us all the way back to the past when this whole calypso era in Montserrat started and as far up to the present as you could possibly bring us. So, tell us about how this whole calypso arena started in Montserrat. Because I gathered the JCs were involved and it might not have been a competition initially, it might have been more of a show. Tell us about that.
Uh, the way it started, when we started, as a matter of fact, I played with Will Sweeney's band in Cork, and I remember Lawyer Allen who came and told me, or he told us that they're going to have a calypso competition. So and Will Sweeney's band, I played drums in the band, and that this was the band that was going to play for the calypso competition. I remember telling Lawyer Allen, I don't know anything about calypso and writing that kind of thing. And he was the one who gave me the first song that I sang. That was a letter from London. And he gave me the song. He told me just learn it, and you could sing it with the band. And so he gave me the tune. I rehearsed it with Will Sweeney, and that way he wrote it. We were just to organize the first calypso show.
Okay, well, Christo, you know what's going to happen here, right? Two things are going to happen. First thing, when you spoke about playing the drums, I think back in the day, you guys used to call the drum kit a trap set. Is that correct?
That's right. That's right.
Right. Okay, we're going back. And could you give us a few bars of that song?
That was that was a letter from London.
Yeah.
I hear they have carnival now. I want to come home for Christmas. I hear they have bacchanal night. I want to come home for Christmas. I'm tired of London, darling. I want to come back. I want to jump up in the steel band and judge it from 6 o'clock.
Wow. I need to find a way to put some music to that, man. Fantastic.
Lawyer
So,
Allen, he wrote that song.
so did you win with that? How did that go?
I didn't. I came second. I came second to Justin, Hero.
Okay. So then, for that first, what year was that again?
62.
1962. So how many of you guys were involved in that first competition?
There were only five people who sang, five calypsonians. As a matter of fact, we said five, but Red Paul was the fifth. And Red Paul wasn't such a, as I always say, I don't know, but he caused me one time because I referred to him as half of a calypsonian. And he caused because he didn't consult me, man.
So what was the prize?
I became first runner-up in 1962. You want to hear how much I made?
I'm waiting. Of course, I want to hear.
I got a big prize, man, $7.50.
$7.50.
That was a big prize, man.
Wow, compared to nowadays, huh? I want,
The guy is now making thousands just to come in.
but at that time, even for that prize, I mean, was it about the prize or was it more about being part of the event?
Just want to be a part of it. As a matter of fact, I enjoyed just going because we didn't know anything about going on stage and that kind of thing, but we just enjoyed ourselves. And I'm sure if Hero was out here, he would have told us the same thing. We had a little fun. As a matter of fact, in around those years, 60, 61, 62, most of the people or the musicians went away to England. And that's in 1962 and 63, I was the only trap set player left in Montserrat. So I played for anytime any band had something they wanted a trap set man, I was the one they called. I played with Mulkey's band, Papa Skerritt from Salem had a band, and I played for all of them.
And going back to that first calypso competition, and for those that followed in the intervening years, at least up to the 70s when the show started going down to Sturge Park, what was the venue for the calypso competition?
We had at grammar school.
Okay, that's Montserrat Secondary School.
Secondary school, yeah.
So all of the shows were held there.
Yeah, yes. I still remember that first Queen show when I went out to the grammar school, and I remember Errol Eid working on the backdrop for the Queen show, for the stage, right?
Yeah.
I think that thing blew my mind. Still, it was so pretty. That was 1962. Yeah, and then 62 was the calypso competition. 63 was the calypso competition. Also 64. And I think maybe up to 65 and 66. As a matter of fact, I can tell you, I've never sung in Sturge Park.
You never sang in Sturge Park?
No. The last time I went to competition was 1966. And I won in 66.
So was that the only time that you won in 1966?
I won in 63, 66, and 67.
And during that time, at that period, now you said that song was a letter from London in 62 that was written for you by Lawyer Allen.
Yeah, right.
Were you following that, writing your own material, or
I followed writing my own material in 1963 when I wrote Same Old Saturday Night.
Yes, I remember that. Now, I remember that, and as a matter of fact, that song was a theme song for a program on Radio Montserrat. You have to give us a few bars.
Mike, remember, no, I'm not a young man anymore, you know.
You're young, Christo. Go for it, man. This is history. Young at heart. That is good. That is good.
That was the first song I wrote on my own without any help. As a matter of fact, I got the idea from Antigua. I went to Antigua somewhere around 1960, in the beginning of 63, somewhere. And I heard a guy named called Zima Clyde. You probably heard that name.
Yes, I think so.
He was a calypso in Antigua, and he sang something about radio, ABS, Antigua Broadcasting Service.
Yes.
And the utility is serving the public well, and if you don't like it, you could tell with Bell. So say he was written around Antigua Broadcasting. I could write something about Radio Montserrat. But you see, writing that song on Same Old Saturday Night, the actual word, everything in that just came natural, because the programs that I mentioned in the songs were actually the programs that Radio Montserrat was carrying, right? And that was every Mondays is the request program, Tuesdays is variety, Wednesday night is education for the community. Yes, Thursday is rhythm and blues, Friday night circles. But the one that is my delight is the Same Old Saturday Night.
Here in our island, just about half a mile from town, is a radio station with a powerful sound. They have many programs, but I'm interested only in one. That's the time when I turn the spotlight on the Same Old Saturday Night, when they tell me Monday is the request program, Tuesdays is variety, Wednesday night is education for the community. Yes, Thursday is rhythm and blues, Friday night circles. But the one that is my delight is the same old Saturday night. Monday night is request where people listen to all their favorites. Tuesdays is almost the same, people just want to hear their name. But that ain't for me at all, it does make me ball. The music to solve, sometime I'll be glad when current cut off. When they tell me Monday is the request program, Tuesdays is variety, Wednesday night is education for the community. Yes, Thursday is rhythm and blues, Friday night circles. But the one that is my delight is the same old Saturday night. Wednesday is education, when you would listen to all your children. Thursday, which is rhythm and blues, this music doctors reviews. Monday may bring on Liberace, for his music some people crave. But where I'm concerned, a fella like he should be in the grave. Let me hear you. Monday is the request program, Tuesday is variety, Wednesday night is education for the community. Yes, Thursday is rhythm and blues, Friday night circles. But the one that is my delight is the same old Saturday night. On the Friday night circles, you may hear one or two calypsos, but Saturday is impossible, it just make all the rest look small. You could hear all your calypsonians from Trinidad and up to Monstration, so I'm sure you'll agree. Saturday night is the one for we, let me hear you. Monday is the request program, Tuesday is variety, Wednesday night is education for the community. Yes, Thursday is rhythm and blues, Friday night circles. But the one that is my delight is the same on Saturday night.
Wow. And I think that song was recently, in the recent past, incorporated into a medley of old-time calypsos or a tribute calypso. Do you recall that?
It was done by Red Ride.
Red Ride. That's it. It was done by Red Ride. So
Well,
that was a
that song
fantastic
of the
tribute
60s.
to an absolutely classic Montserrat calypso.
Well, things like that, you know, maybe. Well, I didn't know much. Up to now, I still don't consider myself a good writer. Although I wrote a few other songs and so on, but when it came to writing, I think Justin was probably the best writer when it comes to putting calypso together in Montserrat.
So how did you guys go about organizing yourselves for the calypso competition? I mean, surely back then would have been quite different to the way it is now, or
Oh,
was it?
definitely. Matter of fact, when there was no competition in 1969 and 70. That's when, Arrow came in 1967. You're aware of that, right?
You're asking me, I was about knee-high to a chicken at that time, and I don't think I was
Okay.
even allowed to sing calypsos around the house.
Anyhow, though, 1967 was the first year that Arrow came in, and I won that competition. Justin did not compete that year, but that song that I wrote was "Lick Him, Dr. Herbert." That was when you had the St. Kitts uprising. The Anguilla wanted independence, and Mr. Bradshaw, the premier or the prime minister at that time, the chief minister they call him by that time, and he was objecting to Anguilla, breaking away. So I remember the guy, Dr. Herbert, because I saw him in Montserrat at one time. I understand he has some kind of connection to Montserrat as well. And he had asked me to give him the words to the song, and so I gave him it. But I sang that song in 1967. And maybe in passing, I like to, I'm not bragging myself, but I would like to maybe just say, Arrow was probably the best calypsonian that Montserrat ever saw. And there was only one person who he lost one time. And you know who beat him, right?
Who did?
Yours truly.
Yours truly, the one and only Lord Christo.
That's right.
What songs did you sing back then, and what did Arrow sing?
I remember Arrow, he sang a song called Coopsy Coopsy Coops. I think that's what he sang here. But I did Lick Him Dr. Herbert.
Right. I think Cups to Cups to Cups, to do that out phonetically, was about, I think.
The Queen, when them Queen concessions come on
Yes, yes, the
stage
Queen
and
show, basically.
you know, when they're stepping, you know. But Arrow, I respect Arrow because of the music that he put out, man. I still respect, and I told him that before when we used to talk. We used to talk, you know.
Mm.
And I remember back, well, just a couple of years before he left, he did a show in New York. I forget the name of the place. I'm telling you, Mike, that was the biggest calypso show I've ever seen. We're standing room only.
Wow.
A place up in the Bronx. And I went to the show, and I remember Arrow walking in. He looked at me and he said, Christo, what are you doing here, man? I said, look, I have to come to see you. He told me, you want to come here and sing with me? I said, no, I'm out of business a long time. I don't know anything about that, man. I said, I bring you on. So I went backstage when he was ready to come on. Right? You know, he was there looking at me, you know. And believe me, Mike, it was a pleasure for me to go on stage and say, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to present to you a son of the soil, Montserrat, none other but the calypso king of the world. I was probably the first person ever call him that. And when he came out, he said, are you ready to go home? And the crowd went, you know, I want just imagine you see an ant's nest where you disturb an ant's nest, and that's how the crowd, the people, they really rise up, I tell you. And tell you, Arrow, he was the best.
And you hear how you made that introduction, your recollection, and the phrasing of how you did it then.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on to that, because I'm going to come back to that. Okay, so we're going to get to that. What I want to continue, just referring back to that song about Lick Him Dr. Herbert. Were you guys doing a lot of political songs at that time? That was about a situation between St. Kitts Nevis and Anguilla.
Yeah.
I know there were a lot of humorous political calypsos around that time in Montserrat, right. And Cups to Cups to Cups by Arrow was one of them. But were you guys doing a lot of political calypsos back then?
No, we did both. As a matter of fact, I don't remember. I know political songs came like in the 70s, like this Orient song, PDP must go, something like that, you know.
Yeah.
And maybe a couple, but although when I MC the show, I try not to encourage that kind of, because you know how much songs are, right? And I think it's better to leave that kind of thing alone. Plus, I never got involved with too much political issues, too many political issues. I was a member of the Montserrat Defense Force. And as far as I understood, maybe I was wrong, but I understood that if you were in the defense force, you couldn't interfere with, because you actually represent the government. And you to go and sing about the government, especially most time they sing a song about the government, that's something good. You know what I mean? Somebody criticizing something or something like that. I never got involved with that.
Right. I know that back then, okay, even though there might not have been a lot of political songs, there were songs, humorous calypsos, I think following the trend from Trinidad, and calypsos about social situations. And I think one of them was the song about the crash of the Pan Am jet. And then there was Lord Defender around the same time as you folks?
No,
came later.
They came long years afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just back on that situation about political songs back in the late 60s into the early 70s, I think the one you mentioned, the song by Orient, but the one that I think really sort of blew the doors wide open and became such a topic of discussion because, in essence, by the very fact that someone dared to do it, was PDP by Arrow.
Yeah. PDP was of Orient. And Arrow, I think Arrow did a song like
Yeah,
that too.
Arrow had PDP. Oh my God, I'm trying to sing now.
Go ahead, man. You can sing now.
Now you're putting me on, PDP, PDP, to hell with the Labour Party. Do you remember that one?
Billy Bobo, you do your best. Time to take a rest.
Make way for the Powerhouse Party.
Ah, you're doing good, my man.
Maybe we should team up and do a calypso duet, Christo.
Before I sorry to cut you.
No.
The guy that sang about the plane crash, the Tangler.
Tangler, that is correct. Mighty Tangler. So you shifted from being a calypsonian and a drummer to being, the voice of Christo, the presence of Christo was there every year that's as if there wasn't a calypso competition, if there wasn't a presence of Christo.
71 to 77.
1971 to 1977, you emceed all of the calypso shows.
Yeah.
How did calypso change, grow, develop during that period while you were there?
Well, believe me, calypso competition, calypso singing came a long way after by Arrow. And Arrow is the one you have to take. You gotta give the. You remember when he went to Trinidad and recorded that song, "Roll Back." Let me tell you, when the calypso competition came back in '71, Teacher Mary Truitt, right?
Yeah.
I like to call her Teacher Mary because she was actually one of my teachers in Cockhill School in 1951.
Okay, and let me just insert by mentioning for our audience and those who might not be quite up to speed, Teacher Mary Truitt, she was the Minister for Education, Health, and Community Services, Culture, etc. Was she the first in was it the same PDP government? And would she have been Montserrat's first female Minister of Government?
I think so, I think, but I remember she was the one, like you mentioned, the minister. I think she was the first female minister. Government. I think so because I remember when the calypso competition came out, she was the one who actually started it,
Really?
And I remember Teacher Mary calling Arrow and myself to her office. That office was down there in the police station. And he called me and said, Arrow, you want Arrow to come to my office. Arrow and myself went there. And she sit us down and she said, listen, you guys, let me tell you something. The Calypso show is important to the Christmas festival. And I would like you guys to get together and try and reorganize the Calypso competition. And Arrow is the one who told me, let's go for it. And we could organize something. And he told me, you have to MC the show. I remember I talked to Arrow and said, Arrow, I don't know anything about MC. She said, don't worry, you could do it. Arrow is the one who put me on stage. He was the one who told me, you could MC. So that first, when we came back in 71, I think, we organized the Calypso show. And as a matter of fact, that was when the Christmas Festival Committee actually started.
Okay, you're jumping a bit ahead of me because I also wanted to come to that too. Let me just go back 2 years. So the Calypso competition after that meeting with Teacher Mary Calypso competition came back in 1971. Why wasn't there a Calypso competition 69, 77? Well,
They,
between 69 and 70?
they were no in 68 was the and that was the competition. My brother won, the Young Warrior, in 68, and that calypso show was held in the Tomato Factory. I sang as a guest artist in that show. And strange enough, after the show, a lot of people came up to me and said, "You should have been the king." I told her I was in the competition. I just sang as a guest artist. I still remember the song I sung.
What was that, Christo?
Social Bacchanal by Duke.
Social Bacchanal by Mighty
It was
Duke
a
from
big
Trinidad.
bacchanal just the other day. We did it and Chimakome.
Big Bacchanal the other day with Anita and Shimakome. I remember
I
that.
don't want to hear so passing straight. A fella pull me and tell me, wait. Same time any husband come off the bus. Well, no, the Makome started cuss. You know
So
what I'm
yeah, you did that as a guest performer.
Yeah.
So for the 1971 competition, when the competition came back, so were you, along with Ara and others, part of the organizing committee? Did you guys then set up the festival committee?
We were members of the Christmas Festival Committee that time. When the committee was set up, Teacher Mary was the chairperson, and she invited, I think, Cedric Osborne. He was president of Justice that year. Commissioner Charles for the police, represent the police, right? Yeah, Cedric, Charles. I think Frank Edwards was part of the committee as well. But Arrow and myself, I don't even remember Arrow come to the meeting, but I was supposed to be representing the Calypsonians and doing the calypso arranging and the band and that kind of thing, you know. So I was part of the original festival committee.
Yes, I came into the festival committee around 77, 78, when that time Cedric Osborne was the chairman and I was with the festival committee. Yeah.
When he was president of Montserrat Jesse's in the original thing, the original show, committee. So I think what she did was to have a representative from the different organizations, you know. So you can have this thing run smoothly.
So looking back at that period now, the way the calypsos were put together, the arrangements for the practicing and the performance, etc., how did it change coming up the years? I mean, gradually the calypsos improved to the point where calypsos coming out of Montserrat were, well, I'll let you say it, but could compete with any calypsos from anywhere else in the region.
Right? You know, I think we came a long way. And that was when I wrote that song, Same Old Saturday Night. And in the last verse, you hear me say, on Saturday night, you will hear all your Calypsonians from Trinidadians up to Montserratians. And I deliberately put that line in there. Because I was trying to say, listen, we up there with them too.
Exactly. And during that period, to accompany the Calypsonians, even though you were no longer an active musician, an active drummer, or trap set player, as we used to call it, there were so many bands coming on the scene around that time. What is your recollection of that?
Oh, yeah. Live Wires and but Will Sweeney's band didn't play for them. In 1967, the last time I sang was Mulcahy's band, was because Will Sweeney's band was no longer around. So Mulcahy's band. And when I did that song, Licking Dr. Herbert in 1967, you know who was on the drums?
Was it Errolade?
Lord Alfredo.
Lord Alfredo, yes, he was also a drummer.
There you go. And he He was on the, I remember distinctly coming on stage, and he had a little funny little grin, and he looked at me, and he said, "Christo, let me go." Some things come back. I honestly believe that of all the time, every time that I went on stage, that particular night, was the one that really woke me up and said, "Wow." And I don't know how. Mostly, I had a big following from Corkhill and the area, because I was representing, in the old days, it was like a village thing, People from the villages supported the Californians. And like in Corkhill, they would say, I will beat tongue tonight. And you know who was tongue? Was Justin and Arrow, about people. Everyone when those guys from Long Ground came in, Diego came down, and the whole of Long Ground. We had some big crowd in Stutzbach, and because people came to support the Californians.
Well, back in that period, I have very vivid memories of that, both the atmosphere at Sturge Park and also the audience following on the radio station. And that village support, as you spoke about there was a period, and I think during that time, you probably were still emceeing, so you could give us a feel of the crowd atmosphere at Sturge Park. But you had a group of calypsos from St. Patrick's who had their following. I think even the guy Scriber right now, and Lord Mead and some others. Then you mentioned Drago and the crew from Long Ground. There were some Calypsonians from Harris's. I'm not even touching St. John's and Salem yet, okay? Because the reality hero, the Salem crowd, that was even before Cupid and those guys.
Long before,
scene. Yes. So give us a feel of the atmosphere in Sturge Park during those calypso competitions while you were on stage as not as a performer. Well, you were performing as the MC, but you were holding the whole thing together.
Oh yeah, but the important I try as the MC, try not to push any particular person, any particular Calypsonian. I try to be level everybody, and I try to bring on everyone with the same kind of enthusiasm, and let them, here presenting the man from Long Ground, that kind of thing, and representing Corkhill, representing Salem, Cutter. That kind of thing, yeah.
Yes, exactly. Cutter and those guys from Salem. So, Christo, I think I can safely say that you were a part of accelerating that inter-village calypso rivalry.
Yeah, I think I did my part in there, yeah. And they want to go to try to boost the show. Mentioning Diego, I understand. I didn't hear him say it, but I understand Diego made a comment and said, if you win the calypso competition, they're gonna have what you call it, jamming from town to Longong.
Wow.
That would have been some jamming, isn't it?
That would have been some jamming. That would have been some jamming. But I think Drago, did he win the road march one year?
Yeah, I think he did, yeah.
So up to that period of 1978, while you were there and still very active, still very much involved, you were also a very prominent businessman as well. You were the manager of the Esso service station. Yeah, give us a feel about, the carnival. Well, they call it carnival now, but the festival, the Christmas festival community vibe atmosphere in Montserrat at that time.
Well, in those years, New Year's Day used to be, and Boxing Day used to be big. Boxing was a big, December 26th, that was the big day. That's Sturge Park Day, right?
Yeah.
But you had the bands competition, and you had people like Julian Robertson and Julian Roberts especially, gave her a chance. Julian did a lot for Montreal when it comes to the troops and things like that. And even, I became president of Montreal Justice in 1975.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was just a pleasure working with Julian and a few other people. And we tried to get each village to put in a queen of, one of the queens. Actually, we did one from Corkhill, because we did organize a Corkhill social group, and we put in a queen at one time. That was it. But I always tried to get everybody, each village. At one time, the couple of years when I was in 1975, around 76, I got my wife and we set up a group in Corkhill. They call it the Corkhill Social Motivators Club. And when I came up with that idea, it was the same idea that I don't know why I wanted to do something for the village. And that idea that President Carter has there.
The humanitarian organization that he has.
Habitat for Humanity.
Yes, Habitat for Humanity, correct.
I had that idea since back in 1976, And when we started the club in Corkhill, I didn't tell them that's what I wanted to do. Was those little people in Corkhill who didn't have no outhouse and no running water in the around the yard. That's what I wanted to do. But it was too difficult to get done.
Well, the question that's going to come now is obvious, and I'll have to ask it. But yes, here we are. We are reminiscing about calypsos in Montserrat back in the day with your involvement and your broad involvement beyond calypso went into the community. Ever thought of getting into politics back then?
At just one time, I didn't have the ambition, but I was asked if I was interested in doing it. That was back in maybe 77. I said, no, the party. I'm not going to mention the party anyway.
Okay.
And they asked me if I was interested, and I said, no, I didn't want to get one. And I mean, they could tell me who I am and what I am and what I look like and where I came from. You don't have to go in party. You could tell me without going that far. But I know how party much that they're gonna go back for your grandfather to tell you.
Yes, unfortunately, it does go there. Not just in Montserrat, all over the place. But Montserrat, we didn't get you as a politician, but we got you as a community organizer, as one of our leading calypsonians back in the day, very much involved in the festival, president of the JCs, master of ceremonies, I should say. And so you are living in the United States. I'm speaking with you. I'm in London. Every year I still look forward to the Christmas, and I'm sorry, folks, but I cannot get Christmas festival out of my head. I'll still have to work on that carnival bit. But every year, there's great anticipation about the songs. Yes, it's talking about calypso. There's always going to be a little bit of, controversy, a little bit of calypso bacchanal. It comes with the territory. But do you still get very excited about it remotely?
Oh, yeah. I'm always interested. Red Ride. He's my good friend,
Okay.
Yeah, we are maybe 250 miles away. I wanted to get his book. You probably heard about the new book that he has.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I'm arranging to have an interview with him about that book as well, which is called, quite interestingly, Calypso. And we were just talking about calypso and politics a few minutes ago.
I read it last week. I finished it, and I made sure I have 2 extra copies that he brought up for me.
Brilliant.
But I would if you're really interested in anybody who is really interested in the history, I could do like a plug for him because he's my partner, my friend. The book is interesting.
Oh yes, it's a fantastic and necessary work that he has done there. Somebody needed to document that.
And that's why I compliment people like Ed Red Ride and you. Keep the work doing because you guys are the people who keep Montserrat on the map. And the way how Montserrat is going right now is down. I 20. I don't want to think about 20 years from now. The way it's heading. And I told my wife I was going to tell you something about how I feel about 20 years from now. She told me don't say it. Because Montserrat people funny, they're gonna let you know.
Well,
She looking at me, making she wanted me, don't say it.
put it this way. Let us hope that there is a change in the general situation. And yes, I do my commentaries and whatnot from time to time. But in
I
this
know.
situation, I think it's a question of that old saying, all hands on deck, all hands on board.
That's right, yeah.
A
That's a good
turnaround
one.
needs to be made. The volcano happened after Hurricane Hugo, which was a happening on its own. But what has happened to Montserrat has not happened to any other Caribbean country, nor to any other country in the
In the
Western
world,
Hemisphere,
I'm telling you.
particularly in the Western Hemisphere. So yeah, we have to build back. We have to get back from this. And every year, again, referring now to your very prominent involvement in Calypso, every year you hear it's not a question of calypsos. Every year is the same old cry, but it is that. It's the same appeal coming from the Calypsonians who document our history, who are the quote unquote voice of the voiceless, singing
Right.
the same old necessary song, because that's what Calypsonians do. Calypsonians used to be like the newspapers and well, the social media
That's right.
of days of old. And if
Yep.
the Calypsonians are saying this is not happening the way it ought to happen. And even though back in your day you shied away from singing political calypsos, except the one about St. Kitts Nevis and Anguilla, then if the Calypsonians are singing about it, it's topical.
Live it. Lick him, Dr. Herbert.
Exactly. Well, Christo, it's been a pleasure and an education and a fantastic stroll down this Montserrat Calypso Memory Lane speaking with you. I thoroughly
Mike,
enjoyed
I
it.
want to compliment you and say thanks to you for keeping Montserrat alive. I follow you now and then, don't think you get it away.
A pleasure,
Yeah.
Mr. Alfred Christopher. Thank you
All
very
right.
much indeed. All the best to you and the family.
Mike, keep the work going. And I hope you get on the red ride and I hope you guys have a good talk.
Oh, yes, we've been in
Yes.
touch and we will have a good talk.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks,
So I wish you
Christo.
all the very best. Continue the work going on.
Thank you very much indeed.
All right, all the best, Mike.